But I wanted to tell you about Greece. You ever hear of a guy named Robert Mundell? Greg Palast has been on this program. He's talked about him before. And there's a new op-ed I got in the mail from, it's published over at Op-Ed News at Rob Call's site, opednews.com, by Michael Nevradakis in Athens and Greg Palast in New York. I'm guessing it's over on Greg Palast's website too, gregpalast.com. So Professor Robert Mundell is the guy who invented the euro and suggested that all of these European countries should all use a common currency. Okay, so who is this guy? Who is Robert Mundell? Well, he's dead now, but Greg Palast, who, by the way, was trained in economics in college, Greg Palast knew him, interviewed him extensively, and here's what he has to say. It's important to mention that the little bastard spawned by the late Professor Mundell was supply-side economics, otherwise known as Reaganomics, Thatcherism, or simply voodoo economics. So Mundell invented Reaganomics, and he invented the euro. And then, what's his name? Michael Nevradakis says, the imposition of the euro had one true goal, to end the European welfare state. Remember Reaganomics? The whole point of Reaganomics was to roll back the New Deal. And they're still working on it. They even got Bill Clinton to go along with it and end welfare as we know it. I mean, just roll back the New Deal. To hell with those poor people. To forget about giving people bootstraps to pull themselves up by. We have to give tax cuts to wealthy people and raise taxes and cut benefits for poor people. Which is exactly what Sam Brownback is doing in Kansas and Scott Walker's doing in Wisconsin. And I mean, it's just pick your Republican state. And here's what Mundell, this was his vision. I'm quoting from this article. The euro itself would be the vector infecting the European body politic with supply-side Reaganomics. The vector is, what carries disease, like mosquitoes are vectors for malaria. The euro itself would be the vector infecting the European body politic with supply-side Reaganomics. Mundell saw a euroed Europe as free of trade unions and government regulations, a Europe in which the votes of parliament were meaningless. Each Eurozone nation, unable to control the value of its currency, unable to control its own budget, unable to control its own fiscal policy, could only compete for business by slashing taxes and regulations. Here's a verbatim quote from Robert Mundell, the inventor of the euro. Quote, the euro puts monetary policy out of the reach of politicians. Without fiscal policy, the only way nations can keep jobs is by the competitive reduction of rules on business. This is the religion of austerity that the Republican budget, which would slash $5.5 trillion of spending here in the United States, and cut our GDP by 1% next year and almost 2% the following year, lay off millions of people next year, many millions more the following years. This is the budget that just passed the Republican House, right? Paul Ryan's wonderful budget. It's Reaganomics. It's the same thing Sam Brownback did to Kansas. Tax cuts for billionaires, cut any kind of benefits to poor people, no minimum wage increase. I mean, it's insane. And this is also what Germany and what the Europeans, these neoliberals in Europe, have imposed on Greece and Spain and Italy and Portugal. And surprise, just like Reaganomics, it's not working. It's destroying the working class. It's destroying jobs. Unemployment in Greece is now where it was during World War II and World War I. I mean, there was a headline in one of the British newspapers a couple of days ago that said, Greek economy now is similar to that when Greece was ravaged by war, right? It's worse than when it was a war economy. Greece was occupied by the Nazis. Germany, by the way, has never paid back the money to Greece that they owe them from World War II. Greece forgave the debt. Don't think they should have done that. But do you get it? It's like Reaganomics this is the corporate takeover of the world, the transnational corporate takeover of the world. The EU is like the TPP.